Hello, welcome to the podcast show. My name is Joe, and I have a special guest with me today, Jonny-O.
Hello, I'm Jonny-O. I do metal and stuff.
That's my impression of Jonny-O. I hope you like it. I can't help it. You do this to me, Johnny. All right, game face. Game face. All right. All right. Welcome to the podcast show. My name is Joe, and I have my guest with me, Jonny-O.
What's up?
And we have some joints here for you from House of Cultivar, Grand Cru. Now, I got these joints because they looked fancy. The labeling.
And that's how they get you.
That's how they get you, man. They looked really fancy.
And then it's just like Mexican dirt weed.
No, it's way too fancy to be that.
Seeds and stems.
If it looks like it spent more than $1 to produce, then
The
usually it's
container.
good. Yeah. But the other thing that sold me on one of these joints is one's called Orangutan Titties.
Oh, I would have bought that too.
Yeah,
right
exactly.
away. Like I would have been like, how many do you have?
Orangutan Titties.
Orangutan?
Yeah, it's Z Kittles crossed
I think
with
you're
Grease
putting
Monkey.
the wrong emphasis on the wrong syllable.
You read it.
Orangutan.
No, that it's orange.
Oh, they're doing a...
Yeah, it's like a play on words.
Oh, okay. My
And
bad.
this one is Malibu Marsha.
Marsha.
Yeah, and Malibu Marsha is Tropicana cookies crossed with cookies and cream.
I have experienced cookies and cream. I like that strain, actually.
You do?
Yeah.
All right, well, then I'll take the orangutan titties.
Oh, well, I was hoping for that too. I mean,
All right.
we can switch around or...
Yeah, we're COVID friendly on the podcast show. We get our own joint to smoke. We don't share anymore.
Pass the vid.
Yeah. We're safe. We're outside right now. I don't know if you can hear the shipyard sunset thingy. I don't know what
saying
that's called.
go to bed, stop drinking, and
Colors, call the colors or something like that.
fucking all the Bremelos. Go back to the ship.
My joint smells good. What about you?
It's mild.
It's okay.
Can I smell yours?
No.
Oh, not even that. Huh?
Yeah, because I've already touched my joint. So.
Oh, okay.
Let's do a dry hit. You ever do a dry hit? Dry hit where you suck on the end of the joint
Without
before you
lit?
light it. Yeah,
No, never.
Oh,
What's the point of that?
you can taste it.
Oh.
Yeah, someone showed me and I was like, "Hey, I haven't been doing this for years, man. I wish I was doing." Yeah, dry hit. You can really get a good.
Oh, that's fruity.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Man, that's good. Mine's fruity too. All right, well, let's light it up, huh?
All right. I always like doing this first.
Yeah. What's your reasoning for that?
Just burning off the excess wrap, and then, you know.
It's smooth. Mm.
Ooh,
Wow, that's really good.
ooh, ooh,
It's like diesely and fuely and berry.
I got a little overzealous on that.
You suck a little too hard.
That's what they say.
All right, well, Johnny, you wanted to share something on the podcast show today, right?
Well,
These are like stoner memoirs.
yeah. I finally figured out my phone a little bit.
Life epiphanies. You started writing down your life epiphanies.
Yeah, little brain farts, if you will. So, love the input. They're probably all works in progress. But, you know, it's kind of like music. You want to record an idea because I've found out that so many times when I have an idea for a song, I'll be like, oh, I'll remember that in the morning. Nope.
Yep. It's gone
Nope.
forever. Yep. I know exactly
Gone.
what you're talking about.
Lost. So,
And you know what's so frustrating about that are the times where you're like, I better write that down so I don't forget. And then you say to yourself, no, that one's too good to forget.
right.
And then you forget.
And then you still do it.
Yeah. So yeah, you're right. It's good to record it right out the gate. It's like,
So, this is just going to be random shit.
is there a name to this? Is there like stoner?
It says all memos. Okay, we'll start out PG-13. I don't understand any problem with weed. Pretty sure it was growing while Adam and Eve were arguing about fruit.
Yeah, that's a good point. Except for, I think it was called.
Or the leaf. That
it was called the devil's lettuce, though. So they didn't
devil's
smoke it.
cabbage.
Yeah, the devil's cabbage. They didn't smoke the devil's cabbage. They'll eat the fucking forbidden fruit, but they won't smoke the devil's cabbage. That was the first problem Adam and Eve faced. They should have smoked the devil's cabbage and not eaten the forbidden fruit.
Okay, here's another. I'm repeating myself 'cause off air and whatever. You know what's sad? The videos of dogs laying, whimpering, and refusing to leave their fallen owners at their grave sites. My dogs would be the ones eating my face off within 20 minutes of me kneeling over dead.
20 minutes, huh? That's the time.
20 minutes. I don't know. It's a.
He hasn't moved in 20 minutes.
Yeah.
His face is free reign. Let's eat it.
It's chuck wagon time.
You just wake up one day with your dog gnawing your fucking nose off.
Yeah.
Like, oh, we thought you were dead.
I'm not. Now I have half a face.
Don't
Thanks.
feed your fucking dogs bath salts then, bro.
Yeah. Noted. Oh, okay. This is a good one.
All right, here we go. Have we have we got it to the rated R category yet?
Yeah,
Or is
we're
we're there.
heading there.
Okay.
You know what I hate about myself lately? I don't shower as much as I should, and then have the arrogance to complain I don't get fellatio. My logic is, so it smells like mangoes 3 days past their prime. That's good eating in some countries I've been in. The absolute knuckle-dragging arrogance of me thinking I had a platform to stand on when my shower schedule is once a month. And that's generous. So,
That's nice. Yeah, I mean, how arrogant can you be with a
I
stinky
know.
ball sack? I mean,
I
that's
know.
you at least got to have a clean smelling ball sack before you can walk around like you're God's gift to women, right? So.
and sometimes she's like ready, and I'm like, "Urgh," and I will literally say, "No, stinky dick,
Oh yeah, yeah.
stinky dick." So
Would you call it
I
whore
mean,
bath? There's another name.
yeah,
for
there's
that.
a
It's called
whore bath.
bird
Yeah, you
bath.
can whore
I
bath.
heard it was called a bird bath.
It's a whore bath.
So how many whore baths have you had compared to the regular showers?
I showered today.
Oh, nice.
I did one whore bath last week.
Nice.
Usually it's when I am going to practice because I'm playing drums and I'm just like, I
Sweating.
don't, yeah.
Yeah.
Just, the swamp ass.
You start smelling your own balls. You're like, fuck, if I can smell my own balls, they can too. Damn it.
Okay.
Should have gotten deeper on that whore bath.
Knuckles deep. So
You gotta really get in there sometimes.
too, man. And you're also checking your prostate. So
Yeah, exactly. You're making it it's medicinal cleaning. That's what it is.
All right, here's one. Oh, I know I was stoned when I wrote this one. Thinking of a script for a movie, Cougar Town. Because they have all the, like
There's a show.
old women or
Yeah.
cougars and all that. But it is literally old cougars that maul and eat a small town in the Northwest, and they fight for their survival, both man and beast. That has potential.
It has potential for sure.
Just
I
like
mean,
I'm sure there would be a category of people that would actually fucking sign up for that. Be like,
Oh,
just
for
to be
sure.
on TV.
I mean,
Yeah,
if
I'll
it's one
run
thing
away
we've-
from an old cougar.
If it's one thing we've learned, we can get people to sign up for damn near anything. So if you come up with the idea for the show,
Yeah,
I'm
I
sure you can
signed
make
up
it
for the
happen.
military. There's proof enough.
I don't know if your show idea is quite 2021, but maybe 2028. Probably,
Like Running Man.
yeah, when they can watch someone get mauled by a wild animal and be like, "Oh, this is entertaining."
It's not censored at all.
Yeah, exactly.
It's just like on
It's like on the
local
National
cable.
Geographic. Yeah, it's on public access.
History Channel or something. Oh, good gravy.
Stoner
That
notes.
just does
Stoner
not make
notes.
sense.
You want me to read it? I'll read it. I'll read it in your voice.
I don't even know what I was thinking whenever.
Been wanting to suggest buying one of those double grandpa beds. Stoner thoughts. I'm just going to go to a random one here. I made the mistake of doing the shoe on the other foot. One super stoned and derpter. And by other foot, I mean switching jobs in the household. But the sickening thing is that this was embedded in my head through these series of children's books that magically arrived at our doorstep once a month. One of them was exactly what I fucked up with. Goofy, I read that right, by the way.
Yeah, I know.
One of them was exactly what I fucked up with. Goofy and his wife are both complaining about whose job was worse. Goofy fucking has an actual yoked mule in this child's book. Think about it. An upright talking dog tilling a field. Anyway, they switched jobs for a day, of course. Miss Goofy never heard of her, never seen her again. Of course, handles his job like she discovered the system of plowing. Goofy has the... Why did I pick the longest one
I
ever?
don't know, man.
Goofy has the house in complete suds when she gets back to the fields. Remember, go back until you just think it's easy phone sales, and she drinks, smokes weed, and watches TV and rudiments.
Okay, so
Good one.
that was
Good
my
one.
okay. I slightly remember my thought process on that. I was so there. Okay, when I grew up, my parents got there was like a Disney Club book club that they pay for, and each month you'd get these little thin Disney
Books.
yeah. And one of them was highlighting Goofy and his wife. Didn't even know the fucker was married, by the way. But now he has a wife. And they were both complaining about how hard their roles were in the marriage. And so they switched. And so his wife goes out to plow the fields and he does all the house chores. And of course she just like nails it like a champ. And then Goofy, he has suds up to the ceiling trying to do laundry and shit. And so I was like, I don't do shit. I fucking do paradiddles and smoke weed and drink beer.
Living
And
the good life.
Janie is always working. And I'm like, I am not fucking complaining about shit. I'm not
No wonder why we have so much in common, Johnny.
I'm not switching roles.
Hell no. You know what's funny is I say this as a joke. When people ask me, where's Lori? I'm like, she's at work where she should be. And I say it as a joke just to get a reaction out of people. And it's so funny, the different reactions I get out of people when I say that. Especially when they're like, wait.
He's at home doing the dishes like he should be.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, good gravy.
It's about balance in relationships, right? Sometimes you gotta it gets off kilter a little bit. And you gotta
Absolutely.
just try to
Yin-
find ways
yin
to
and
balance it
yang.
out, man.
I mean, you have your little blowouts here and there.
You're just
but
the big part of the yang up here.
I'm
I'm
more
down here
of a
on the skinny
yang
part,
down. I'm the
yeah.
yin down here.
Yeah, I know you're holding the load on both sides of the yang.
I don't know. I just should read this shit, right? I mean,
Yeah, just read
it's
it, man.
just
Just read it.
ridiculous.
Stoner
Okay.
thoughts, stoner notes.
So this is how I
you should probably
started
get
out.
the one that automatically checks your grammar, though. That'll probably help. Upgrade your notepad a little bit, bruh.
Son of a. Sneaking out to have my last beer I put in quotes.
Naturally.
It's like a Chuck E. Cheese gauntlet. First, Wait, I lost my place. Sorry. First, I gotta get the beer, but the fridge makes an unusually loud sucking noise, especially at 11:39 on a Wednesday. If I don't wake her, I literally go through a curtain to get to the outside door, which is past the washer and dryer. But we have glued sensor spotlights in our house, so the second I move the curtain, the light turns on. Never mind the Santa bells on every door to teach our dumbass new puppy to ring it when when he needs to shit or piss. Waste of money, by the way. They shit and piss wherever they want to. White people problems.
That could be the name of this whole entire
White people problems.
white people problems.
Or Santa,
Hashtag white
Santa
people
bells.
problems. Yeah. My girlfriend doesn't like the smell of my balls. White people problems.
So me and the wife have a. Good God, I do need a new.
Just something that gives you the little squigglies, you know?
So me and the wife had a fight tonight. She goes to the bathroom while I let out a huge fart in bed, thinking she will get a mouthful when she jumps in. She goes to the kitchen. Dutch oven done. I ate it. Basically. Is what that was.
Yeah, I'm going to
guess.
eat that one.
Oh, good Lord. Let's see.
I can proudly say I've never Dutch ovened anybody. Yeah, ever. It just doesn't
Not
seem...
even a sibling?
Nah, it just doesn't seem... Well, it's just not my thing, I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I've had limited Dutch oven experiences.
I
Oh.
just don't know why anybody would do that to somebody. I mean, don't get me wrong. I'm not a romantic or anything. Don't get me confused, but it just doesn't seem fun. Like, I'd break up with somebody if they did that to me, I think. Like, I don't care how long we've been
It's
together.
a deal breaker.
Fucked up.
23 years. Down the fucking drain.
It was great until I Dutch ovened his ass. Shit. Let me see. Maybe I got some stoner thoughts I can pull out of my brain. Oh, something I was thinking the other day
Yeah, please.
is why the abbreviation for number has an O in it when the word number doesn't have an O in it. So, like, the abbreviation for number is NO period.
Isn't that just no?
Well, I mean, yeah, but the abbreviated, like, NO period 4, you would know it says number 4.
Yeah.
Okay. So why is there an O there?
Well, I mean, you can go a little further, too, and be like, I mean, the number symbol used to be what is everybody's using as a hashtag now.
Oh, yeah, the pound symbol?
Yeah. Or pound symbol.
Yeah.
Exactly.
I mean, you guys figure that one out. Let me know why there's an O in the abbreviated
We want to know.
number.
Concerned citizens.
What's another stoner thought I had recently? Sometimes when I get down on the edibles, I'll think of a joke that I wrote, and then it'll lead me down like this portal of a joke, like I'm playing it out in my head, just winging it. And sometimes I come up with some pretty good shit when I wing it in my head, but every time I go to fucking write it out, it's just not the same.
You know what's hard for me is that when I try and write it down, I'll go into like complete story. Like I don't bullet point it. I write out every freaking word. You know, and it's like, you know, like you were saying, you know, why did I pick the longest one? Well, I apparently was trying to very make clear, probably to myself later, what I was saying. But, you know, I know people who, you know, comedians that they can just jot down a simple 3-word thought.
Yeah,
and know what they're.
know what they're going to talk about.
Not me, man. I gotta
Well,
do
it takes time to get
paragraphs.
to that point, though. It takes time to get to that point. When you see someone write down a sentence, like 4 sentences.
You think it's just experience?
I think so, because that's how I did it for a long time, but I wasn't always like that in the beginning.
Because
I had to tell the joke at least 20 times before I can turn it into one sentence and get the whole joke out.
Because my process was the paragraphs, and then when I did a show, when I was starting out, I do bullet points to that story. So I would shorten it,
Yeah.
but I would definitely put in a sentence in there to know the direction I was going. And then the third thing was that I would try and not have to have that piece of paper up there with the bullet points. So it's just all in your head, because I think once you get there where it's just second nature, then you have more freedom to concentrate on how the crowd is reacting and how to read them, and even your body movements, probably,
Yeah.
how you act on stage is different.
Well, that's how comedy is.
When you're not tethered to something.
When you learn something in comedy, usually you just move on to the next thing, because there's always something to learn.
Right. I think the exception to that is like roasts.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
the roasts, you gotta you gotta have a bullet point list.
You gotta
I
have
think.
something.
I mean,
Yeah, at least something. So one of the jokes that I like to tell is when you've been broke for so long that you go over to your friend's house and you get way too excited that they have paper towels. And they're like the full square paper towels, and you're just like, damn, bro, you're balling.
right.
So I thought of more to add to that joke, and this is what I wrote down when I was stoned. I tried to get it out as best I could. When you get handed a full square paper towel and the first thing you do is rip that shit in half, because you know full well that you can clean your entire face and the table with half a square paper towel, because you've been doing it for years. You guys know what I did with the other half of the paper towel? I took that shit home, because that's how broke people work. You start stealing shit like napkins and silverware. Hell, I scored 43 ketchup packets the other day. I know that you might be thinking 43 is a random number. Yeah, that's because I waited until I got home to count my score. Do you think bank robbers ever leave with exactly $1 million? No, they take whatever they can get without getting caught. If you get greedy and try to take 1,000 ketchup packets, that's how you get caught.
That's probably accurate. I always had Janie always made fun of me because I had this Ziploc bag full of condiments.
Yeah, exactly. All different
saved
fast food
that shit.
places.
I'm the guy that is like, she's like, I'm not eating that, and I'm like, why? It's only been in there for 2 weeks. I mean, I put saran wrap around it. It's in the fridge.
Yeah.
But the questionable food thing has been an issue before. But yeah, I mean, as far as sauce packets and stuff like that, yeah, I think if you actually went in,
Like, have you
to
ever
like
stolen
an
100
Arby's-
napkins from somewhere?
not napkins,
And then tried to wipe your ass with it, and you're like, that's why napkins aren't used as toilet paper.
I have stolen toilet paper,
Yeah, for sure.
like gas station, the big
Yeah.
old.
Yeah.
You could probably use it as a spare
Oh, the
tire.
big one,
yeah,
yeah,
you know, in a pinch.
Yeah.
Just slam it on there. Got a slow leak in the tire. Freaking slam that on. But
Well, you know what's funny is my mom, she would steal so much from the restaurants we'd go to. So our silverware drawer was always like different restaurants, a mix of silverware. And my
I've
favorite,
stolen
favorite was the Azteca fork. I always loved that one the most. And we had like 8 Azteca salsa cup holders, you know, because she would just steal the silverware and the fucking salsa cups and put
it's a
them in
little
the to-go
piece
box.
of history.
Yeah, I mean, like, I always wondered, see, when we leave, if they're like, well, if they even notice, you know, like, where's the salsa bowls and the silverware at? I'm like, what the fuck?
You know what sucks is that you could get away with shit like that, especially at like hotels. You know, before they started having you leave your credit card at the desk.
Oh, yeah, you just took a time.
Then they're like, we don't give a shit.
Yeah, you
Clean
buy
out
it.
the room. Take the bed.
Yeah.
We're just charging it to your card,
Yeah.
and we have your address. So.
I remember the first time I got a hotel room and I opened the mini fridge and there was a bunch of booze in there. I was like, ah. I was like, at first I thought, oh, this is courtesy.
Yeah.
They're
First
just
mistake.
being nice. Yeah, because, if you host a friend that stays in the night from out of town, you give them booze for free, So I was like,
Nope.
nope. $50 later.
Dude, I was in Thailand with the military. We were cross training with the Royal Thai Army, and we got a free night where we could go in. We could go into town, and I don't feel like I have your complete undivided
don't have my
attention.
complete
No, not at
undivided
all.
attention.
We're just doing
Okay,
cool.
so you went to Thailand. You got a hotel room.
No.
You saw a teenage hooker.
The lady boys are amazing.
Yep.
No, so get into we're in Thailand, and I literally fucking forgot my train of thought. What the hell? Oh, toilet paper, right?
Yeah. We were talking about stealing shit. Like, my mom stole the salsa bowls and shit.
Right. Okay. So, and then I let off with until they made you leave the credit card, right?
Yep.
Okay. So that's what led to this. Thank God. That's fucking good.
Don't lose it again.
That's good weed.
Yeah.
So I go into this bar with a couple of my army buddies, and we're sitting there, and the chicks just flock to you. It's just like you're a rock star.
Especially if you got red hair. Right? Because nothing says American more than fucking
Strawberry
ginger
blonde.
beard.
I would prefer strawberry,
strawberry
blonde.
blonde, okay.
Anyway, so with wisps of
Blue eyes.
whisper gray. So I'm sitting there, and there's this chick that is sitting next to me. There's three chicks because there's three of us, and she keeps saying, "Hey, do you need another drink?" And I'm like, "Hell yeah!" So she'd go get me another beer or whatever I was drinking, and then we get up to leave and pay our tab. And I mean, she was a gnarly looking chick, man. She was just, and she was pushing up on me. I was like, I don't want to have anything to do with you. I just want to.
Was she twerking on you?
No. There was no ass to twerk with. I mean, it was just horrible. But I just remember she had like these gopher teeth. It just was like fucking. They're all fucking.
Did it look like she was chewing on a metal locker?
About face. And she was asking me stupid shit like, when was the last time you had sex? And I was like,
Damn, she's coming right at you.
45 minutes ago, actually.
If you really want to know.
Fucking what the fuck is this? So go to pay the tab, and it is outrageous. I did not know, but those girls are planted in the bars, and in every drink that you pay for, you're paying for their drink because they got it for you.
Yeah.
So you're doubling, and I fucking flipped out. Like,
Or was it that the bill was outrageous because it was Thailand and everything is like 1,000 times
Baht.
more? Yeah. So
Well,
like
that's the thing. That's the thing.
Your tab was like 4 million baht.
yeah, it was in the like 25,000 baht, which is, I mean, I think it's like, I want to say around 700 or 800 baht for $20, the exchange rate.
Okay.
I don't quote me on that, but
yeah.
so it was way more, and I was like, what the fuck is this? And she's talking to me like I should know that's the way it's done. I'm like, are you kidding me? I was so pissed, and I didn't have the money to do it. I had American money, but the fuck if I'm gonna give those fuckers American money,
Yeah.
So one of my buddies, he's calming me down because I was making a scene. Like Thai bouncers were heading my way and everything. I was like, that's fucking bullshit. You need to be up front with that fucking shit. Just like if you have a cock and balls, you need to be up front with that shit before we make a transaction.
Because 45 minutes ago, I was fooled, but I'm not going to get fooled this time.
The hair on the knuckles should have given me a clue, but, Jiminy Christmas.
Well,
That actually happened.
did your friends help you pay for the...
Yeah, he did. He
That's
went to the ATM and he was able to withdraw because there's so much that goes on between like the United States and Thailand and bank and your pay and all of that and my credit well, not my credit card but my debit card and my bank was calling me going, hey, there's these transactions in Thailand. Is that you? We're shutting it down. And I'm like, what? No, I need more lady boys.
But the thing is that this process of how it goes down has been probably going on for hundreds of years, and then you get there and you're like, no, this doesn't happen to Jonathan.
Right?
Olander,
No, not
motherfucker."
me. I was just so
Welcome
shocked.
to Thailand, motherfucker.
Well, and that was the second time I'd been there, but the first time I was a missionary.
So
I
drinking,
wasn't
you weren't
going to
partying.
the clubs where they
Yeah.
shoot ping pong balls out of their cooters
Yeah.
and blow darts.
You're like,
I saw a chick shoot a blow dart out of.
that's how you lose a missionary right there.
Yeah.
Just don't look at it. You'll be okay. Just don't look at it. Keep walking. It's not our mission.
Oh my God.
It feels like our mission, I know, but it's not our mission.
So yeah, the first time I was there, I was a missionary, and that was in the early '90s. Totally different. In fact, when we were having a meeting with like the brass before we were gonna leave, they found out that I was the only one that had been over to Thailand before, and so the fucking colonel, light colonel or whatever, says, Olander, where are you? And I'm right here, sir. And I go to parade rest, and he's like, what can you expect, out of the currency and stuff, and like, whatever. And I was like, well, I know 40 baht will get you a good meal and a ladyboy. And the whole fucking place, all the brass, everybody that was there, they just started busting up. And I'm like, hey, keep your wallet in your front pocket and ask to see if they have twig and berries, and you'll be fine.
Nice.
They still had motherfuckers that
Oh, yeah.
trailed off.
Yeah, I know. I can taste it. It's on my lips.
What's that?
The resin from the joint.
Oh.
It's on my drink, too. I'm getting it everywhere.
But yeah, anyway.
That's how you know it's
Enough
good
about
quality
Thailand.
joint when you get it all over your face and the resin sticks to your lips. And then you kiss your lover and they're like, ew, gross. You're like, that's good joint.
Lips still stuck
Appreciate
together
it.
while she's telling you that.
Yeah, exactly. Appreciate it. It's a good joint.
I don't even know if you want to go on with
Do you have any more notes to draw from?
brother.
In my phone, I text myself when I have an idea. So in my phone, I'm labeled as self. And I did think of a joke about texting yourself. Like, do you ever get drunk one night and text yourself and you don't realize it for like hours? You're just having this weird conversation. That's how you know
what are
you're
you
lonely.
talking about? Bro,
Yeah.
you want to meet up?
Oh, here's one I wrote down. Being a dad who's a bud tender and weed is legal now. Because, when we grew up, when you got caught smoking weed, you got your ass beat.
I still have paranoia.
It's different now,
Yeah.
right? Now, when you catch your son, when you used to get your ass beat, that's not how it goes down anymore. Now it goes down like this. Son smokes weed in the bathroom during a sleepover. You go out there and you're mad about it, and you have flashbacks of when you got your ass beat for it, but times have changed, right? So all you say is, listen here, kid. You better not be smoking that cheap shit, okay? You better not be smoking that $8 a gram shit. There's no good weed that's $8 a gram. Don't be bringing that dirt weed into this house. It better be clean, green, certified, and pesticide free if you want to smoke that shit in this bathroom. And how things have changed. And it better burn ashy at the end. If you bring weed in this house, it does not burn ashy at the end, I will disown you, motherfucker. That's 2021.
I thought you were gonna say something like pass, bitch.
Yeah, exactly. Let me tell you about the courtesies, okay?
Dude,
I saw that you did not pass to the left to your friend in the bathroom.
Roni. So, the first time I was caught smoking weed by my dad, it was illegal. And it wasn't even weed, it was shake. And we were getting ready for church. And where we lived, there was this hill, and there was a huge, thick patch of blackberry bushes. I mean, like 15 feet tall, 30 feet wide, just huge. And I was doing the whole pop can pipe, you know. And I was a master. I could get it shaped, and there would be no holes except what I poked in it.
Yeah.
So I'm sitting there, and I'm like, oh, fuck,
I got the best airflow for a can pipe ever.
Yeah, I was very proud of that. That and the toilet roll pipe.
Nice.
So,
It's disposable.
it is.
It's a disposable
Just
pipe.
flush it.
Yeah.
So I'm sitting there, and I'm like, oh, God, I got to go to church and listen to this crap again. And, you know, it's just 3 hours of my life that I'll never get back. And so I go up. Because it's kind of behind the house, not, you know, very visible. And I'm sitting there and I'm hitting it off the Coke can or whatever it was. And
So you tell me it wasn't Pepsi, motherfucker?
oh, well, it probably
Coke
was
can?
Pepsi, because Cindy Crawford supported Pepsi, and I was infatuated with Cindy Crawford.
Naturally.
Anyway,
wanted to drink that
that's a
Pepsi.
whole nother Oprah.
Yeah.
So I'm sitting there and I'm hitting this, and I'm telling you, it is shake. And I had a tin of Sucrets cough drops, and I took all the cough drops, I threw out all the cough drops, and I just mashed the shake into the shape of a Sucrets and rewrapped it.
Ah, nice.
So,
Very nice.
and then put it back in the tin.
A lot of work for Shake, but hey, this was like 1990, so.
Yeah, I threw out a roach that long thinking that it was done.
Nice.
And I went back 2 years later digging up where I had put it. I was like, what was I thinking? Anyway,
You get busted.
but the Secrets, I mean, when they're in because it was kind of a foil that the cough drops are in. Mm-hmm. So it actually really formed it into almost like a bud shape, you know, it was firm. So I'm sitting there and it's blazing and blazing and everything. And all of a fucking sudden, my dad comes walking up the hill and I'm in mid blaze. I'm like, bullshit. And I just I dump the bud, step on it, or the shake, step on it, crush the can, and chuck it into the blackberries.
And he watched you do this whole thing.
Yeah, he's watching it while he's stomping up the hill while we're getting ready to go to church. And the blackberries were so thick, it bounced back out at me, and I had to fucking grab it again and threw it the second time.
This time like a Frisbee.
It went in the second time.
Yeah.
But by that time, he had turned around and walked back down and I'm like, so now, by the time I get to the front door, I'm stoned. And I'm like, oh, I don't know how this is going to go down. I still had reverence and like religious fear of my father at that point. You know, it was like a big deal. And he's a school teacher and all that. I walk in and I walk into the conversation between my dad and my mom, but it was in mid conversation, and he's like, "You know what I just caught our son doing?" And I was like, "Oh, here it comes." And he goes, "Smoking cigarettes."
Oh, nice. Nice.
And I was like, either you are the dumbest teacher in the world, or you are just sticking your head in the
Good thing
sand.
it was fucking
just
trim you were smoking. Because if it was good shit, he probably would have been like, "Oh, that's some weed right there." He's like, that's
no, my dad never did drugs, never had a drink in his life. He smoked cigarettes. That was his rebellion. And when his mom, my grandmother, was born in Russia, I'm adopted, so this is nothing.
yeah.
But she was Russian. His dad was German, and his dad, my grandfather, passed away when he was 18. So his rebellion was cigarettes. And when my grandma found out, they lived in Milwaukee, Wisconsin. It's the middle of winter. So if you know anything about Wisconsin winters, it is cold and the snow is stacked. She found out and she kicked him out of the house on the porch and made him stay the night on the porch.
Damn, for
locked
smoking
for
cigarettes.
smoking cigarettes.
Dude.
And he said,
That's
never.
my kind of lady right there.
He goes, "I never smoked another cigarette
Oh,
in my
right,
life." Yeah,
nice,
he was like,
nice.
"Nope."
Fix that. You almost died, huh? You bet you ain't gonna smoke again. All right, not in my house, motherfucker.
I'm sure Steve Wilkos would come out, or
Oh, yeah,
Maury
for sure.
Povich would
Oh,
be
for
like,
sure.
"Oh, it's a child abuse."
But you
But
know,
no, it set him straight.
yeah. Well, that's how they used to do shit.
Yeah, we used to get paddled in school.
But I think when it comes to weed, the smell of weed, I mean, do you even remember the first time you smelled weed?
Yeah,
It smells great, right? And you're like, okay, that's weed. Like right off the gate, you're like, oh, that's weed, because you already have like the receptors in your brain, I think, that gets activated. So
because it's oil natural.
yeah, exactly. I think that it's easy. It's probably one of the only aromas where you can smell it and not know what it is, but be like, oh, that's probably weed. That's probably weed. That smells good. Because that doesn't smell like anything else in the kitchen, you know? Yeah. Johnny's dad didn't know. It wasn't the good shit. It wasn't. That's why. Because it wasn't the good shit. You were smoking leaves.
You want to hear
Yes.
another funny story?
I got to pee, but I'll hold it for this. Okay. Is this a 30-minute story?
You might want to pee. No, I can do bullet points.
All right.
So, I was always the new kid, because we lived in Spokane until I was 11 and a half. So I came over here to this side of the pass in the middle of 5th grade. And where we were staying, it put us in the Marcus junior high region. So I did Marcus in 7th grade, but then we moved to where I grew up, which put me at Sedgwick in 8th grade and 9th grade, and then you're thrown into South. So I was always the new kid, and everybody was always testing me. But when the first time that I bought a joint, no shit, this guy, no names, right? But he was in the neighborhood where I lived. You know, like we ended up hanging out a lot after I figured out weed was awesome.
So you trusted him when he had a joint to present to you.
Well, no, I'd never been approached by this. I was sitting with two friends of mine who might have been, probably could have been Mormons. You know, I mean, real clean cut kid. I mean, we're talking upper middle class.
If they weren't Mormons, their parents probably were.
Right. So, you know, real clean cut, never, you know, and this guy is a rocker. You know, mind you, this is the 80s. So he comes up with his, you know, his jean jacket with the sleeves cut off and everything. And he's like, hits me. He's like, and we're on the bus going home from school. He's like, "Hey, Olander, buy a joint. It's $1." And these two kids that, you know, are my neighbors, close neighbors, and I hang out with, they just were doe-eyed, like, drugs?
Yeah.
Right? And I was like, I don't have $1. And no shit, across the aisle is another school, bus bench, and this little shrimpy kid with, like it wasn't even Elmo. Elmo wasn't back there, but, like some goofy colored backpack on. And he goes, "Hey, give him $1." And the kid, like, sheepishly pulls out this plastic little zipper coin purse and hands me $1 across the aisle. And then I just hand it to Jeff. Oh. Ding Kun.
I can edit that.
And,
if I remember.
and he gives me this joint. And then he walks away. And these two friends of mine, mortified, look at me. I'm holding this joint. And it's bud.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's not shake. Bud.
Yeah.
Looking back on it, it should have been like $10.
$5 joint.
Yeah, $5.
In the 80s, $5.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And they're just like looking at me. And my answer to it was, "Oh, I don't smoke it. I just sell it."
Nice. The classic.
I didn't know what
the classic. I'm just a weed dealer. I don't smoke.
I
this.
buy low and sell high.
Yeah, exactly.
Not the high
Sit on
you're
this
thinking
for
about.
20 years. It'll inflate in price. I'll double my money. That's hilarious. Yeah, I remember one time in Seattle, I was hanging out at a bar in the outside area drinking a beer. I think it might have been either on the way to a Mariner game or after a Mariner game. But I was drinking a lot. I was pretty drunk. And this homeless guy is on the sidewalk right next to us. And he sees us hanging out and having a good time. And he comes up to me. Of course, he picks me out of the whole crowd. And he goes, "Hey, man."
Why?
Yeah. He's like, "I got a joint for sale." And I was like, "Oh, yeah?" I was like, "How much?" He's like, $10. I was like, $10. I was like, fuck. I ain't going to buy a $10 joint from you, dude.
No.
Yeah. And then he goes, "It's blueberry cheesecake." I was like, "You're telling me it's blueberry cheesecake? This is look, there's no doubt this guy's homeless." And I was like, I'm curious, right? So I was like, "Okay, show it to me." And it's a fat joint. So it looked like it legit could be a $10 joint. But it had already been hit. Like, like it had already been hit a couple times. Like the end of it was black. I mean, you could tell it wasn't like, it was like 2 hits maybe. It was like maybe 1 hit, maybe 2 hits, right? So I was like, "You're trying to sell me a $10 joint that's already been a hit? Who are you?"
Your saliva's been around the end.
And he's like, "Dude, it's so good." He's like, "I had to take the hit. It's so
I'm
good."
so stoned right now.
He's like, "Man, it's so good, man." And I was
Oh
like,
man, you gotta go pee because I have
well, hold on a sec.
the ultimate story
So then-
that relates to that. After, yeah, you're done.
So then I was like, "Oh, it's that good, huh?" And I was like, "Well, then I'm gonna smoke it, and I'll let you know."
He was asking $10.
$10, yeah. So then I was like, "Okay, well, I'll take a hit, and then I'll determine if I want to buy it or not." And he's like, "Okay." And
Try it before you buy it.
Yeah, I take a hit. I take like 5 hits. He's just
Not
standing
that-
there. Yeah, I'm just like,
Nah.
Yeah, I know. Well, that's not that bad. I'm just taking more hits, and kind of just like, wait. And you can tell he starts getting nervous because he gets to the point where I'm almost approaching the halfway mark. So the value of this joint's now gone down to $5,
Maybe 3 or 4.
Yeah, so I was like, "You're right, man. That's a pretty good joint. I'll give it to you, man. That's a $10 joint." And I gave him $10 for it. So, yeah, it was pretty funny in hindsight looking back on it. I was all drunk.
Dude, we're totally friends until I walk away.
Yeah, he's weird. That's why we call him Freaky Frankie.
He fucking freaks out.
Dude, I have one of the most gnarliest stories. But it's a long one. I don't know if you want to pee first.
Yeah, I'm going to pee first, for sure.
So pause for
Yeah, pause. We'll take a
for
break.
station identification.
All right, this is a podcast show. We've never taken a break before, but we're going to take a break. And we'll get right back with it. 2 and 2. How you say that?
2 and 2.
2 and 2.
2 and 2. Chuck, what's his name?
Chuck Woolery.
Woolery. Oh, you might get fined for that. All right. So, It's a long one, and you can pipe in
Gonna have to
whenever you
smoke
want.
Another joint, I guess.
Isn't that one yours?
No, that's yours.
Oh,
You took
I
some.
thought you touched it.
You're like the homeless guy. You just took a couple hits off of it.
son
You're
of a
like,
bitch.
damn, that's some good weed, bro.
I know.
I gotta sell this for $10.
I should save it and sell it for $10.
Dude, he's probably the only person that's ever sold an already smoked joint for $10. I'm a sucker.
That's like Guinness material.
Yeah, for sure. Somebody write that one down.
I will in my phone. It'll be right next to the stupid shit I say all the time. So, all right, I'm in a band in the '80s, and we were gaining popularity, and so there were some fans.
Teen boy band?
Yes. What do you think?
When you think
I
of
got
that-
Jonny-O.
Well, when I'm thinking 80s, I'm not thinking of beard and long hair. I'm thinking of clean cut.
Mullet.
Mullet. Okay. All right.
Although I never call it a mullet.
Yeah, but it
I've
was a
said
mullet.
it once.
There's no
I've said it
denying
a
it.
million times.
you've
I
seen the
never
pictures.
once walked into a barber shop and said I wanted a mullet. I call it a cascading mane of golden seduction.
Okay. For a long time, you called
That's
it that.
what it was. They loved the hair.
And then,
Anyway.
and then it stopped seducing so much for some
No.
reason in the
Then
90s.
it just got weird.
In the 90s, it got weird.
And I don't play hockey. Anyway, so we got these. We have these a pretty decent fan base, right? And there was this couple that had an apartment, and they needed a third roommate to make the rent. And I was like, okay, I'll fucking. But it was under the table, like I wasn't on
Yeah.
the paperwork.
I'm going to guess how much that rent they wanted from you was. Okay? You ready? Don't say it. I'm going to guess it.
I don't remember it.
Oh,
But
you
go
don't?
ahead.
How do you not remember? 3? No.
Yes,
3?
3.
300?
It was
Okay.
no 3,
3?
just 3.
300.
$3. But I don't fucking remember. I didn't have a job. I thought I was gonna be a rock star.
Yeah, you're like, fucking $300 for it? I'll give you $400.
Yeah.
I'll be just fine. It's the 80s. I'm in a band. I'm in a band and I'm not the bassist.
I wasn't. I was the drummer. So, but I had a car and they didn't. So that was kind of the payoff, the trade. So anyway, they at best were fans and acquaintances. I didn't really know them, grow up around them or anything like that. So my roommate comes up to me and he goes, hey, I got this guy that needs a ride to go get some weed. And he needs a car. And I was like, well, nobody's taking my car. And he's like, no. You'll drive. But, I want you to meet him and everything. So in comes this guy. And, I mean, today you probably would think he's a meth addict. He was he's like this tall, just really scrawny,
But
dirty.
this is the 80s, so it wasn't quite meth pandemic. Quite. It
was called
scratching the surface.
It was called crystal meth.
Crystal. Yeah.
Crystal meth, and it was pink and shardy, and it was terrible. Anyway, so this guy comes in. I remember he had like this gray. So he looks like a hanger. His shoulders look like an actual wire hanger.
Oh, really?
The way his tank top
Yeah.
was hanging off of him, and I'm like, who the fuck is this guy? And he's like 70
Who's
pounds.
wired hanger guy?
Yeah. What's he doing here? This is the guy? All right. Yeah, I put all my trust in you. So he's like, yeah, I got this place. I got a bunch of weed. I just need to go pick it up. I just need a ride. And I was like, okay, well, what's in it for me? And no shit, he pulls out a garbage bag. An actual garbage bag, like full of, I mean, it was all on stems and everything, but it was
Like this big ass buds.
not big ass. It was the 80s.
Yeah, okay. Yeah.
So, but
And
there
this
was
guy-
so fucking much of it And I was like, fuck yeah. All right. I go, this is mine. Regardless of whatever fucking happens tonight, this is mine.
Nice.
And he's like, yeah, that's cool, man. That's cool, man. So we're driving and we're smoking the whole time. I don't know where the fuck I am. And we end up on this long dirt road. I mean, we've been driving for like about 20 minutes, from Gig Harbor to wherever. I don't
Port
even know
Orchard,
what.
probably.
Don't even know what. No.
Or La La.
No, it was not that.
Belfair.
I'll tell you why. Because I know where we did end up because of the circumstances that we got
Shelton.
ourselves into. So we
Lake Tahoe.
we drove like 20 minutes. Find ourselves on this long gravel road. And next to us is the Green River. So we go all the way down. It's like a mile and a half long straight. And it's dark. And before we even hit that, there was these fields off to our left. And you could see like lights shining in the dark and everything. And I was like, what the fuck is that? And the guy goes, oh, they're harvesting. I was like, in the middle of freaking night, harvesting corn? What? I was still pretty naive
Yeah.
to the weed
Even though you were
thing.
getting paid in weed. You were getting paid in weed.
I was a sheltered child. Anyway, so this road.
Because I like corn.
So we get to the end of this road, and it literally dead ends. You can't go any further. And so I parked the car, and he's like, okay, I'll be right back. He jumps out, and my roommate was, in the passenger seat. He jumps out the back and runs off literally into the woods.
Runs, you say.
Yeah.
Like red flag runs?
No, like he's in a hurry.
Oh, okay, gotcha. He's going to go get the shit.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
So
He's itching.
we get out of the car, and we're having a cigarette, and we're, looking at the river and everything. And there's all this river grass, that long,
Yeah.
and it's just thick, and it's all bent over. It looked really cool. And, it looked like a wave, like you'd surf or something, And so we're just bullshitting and talking about that and waiting for this Momo. And all of a sudden, down at the end of the fucking road, we see this little tiny light. And I was like, what is that? And as it got closer, it separated, and it was like, oh, those are fucking headlights. And they got closer and closer, and I'm like, oh shit. So we fucking jump down. We ran. So the car's like about here. We run down the road. They're coming this way. We jump into the embankment and just crawl under this wave of grass and fucking just froze.
Yeah.
And this car fucking comes skidding to a halt right behind my car. And 3 doors slam, and they just start yelling, we're gonna fucking find you, motherfuckers. We're gonna fucking gut you. You're fucking dead. And I'm like, what the? I couldn't believe it. They could have slashed my tires and just hunted us.
Yeah, that would have been
All night.
shitty.
But for whatever reason, they jumped into the car after like 5 minutes of this.
Wow.
Ripped out of there, tore down there. And I jumped in the fucking... I just bolted down that fucking road, headlights out. All of a sudden, Momo comes running out in the middle of the road. He's like, wait, don't forget me. Don't forget me. And I'm like, motherfucker, what the fuck? We were on an Indian reservation. And I had no idea. I mean,
Yeah.
I'm just a stupid white suburban kid.
Yeah.
And we get back to the apartment. He's like, oh, sorry about that. I'm like, sorry about it. Like, my roommate had to hold me back. I was like, I'm going to fucking kick your ass. I thought I was going to die. And he's like, oh, okay, well, maybe we can go back. I was like, no, I don't want to ever fucking see you again in my entire life. He's like, okay, well, I'll just get my weed and go. And I was like, oh, no. And I just fucking shoved him out the door and locked it. So we got this huge garbage sack of weed. And we're in an apartment. And we're on the bottom floor, 3-story apartment building. And so we lay down newspaper and we lay it all out. And it covers the entire living room
Nice.
floor.
Yeah.
And there was a sliding glass door that went out onto, a little patio. So we kept that open, get a breeze and everything and let it dry out. And every time somebody would walk past, they'd just be like, So with that much weed in the 80s, other drugs come around.
Yeah, naturally.
So one of them was acid. So there was these 2 dudes that literally drove from California to Oregon to Washington to Oregon to California to Oregon, just picking up or dropping off acid.
Just doing a run up the coast, that's all.
Right. And they looked the part. One dude, he has that Mexican hoodie parka, and they drove in a VW bus.
Yeah.
And they're frying all the time.
Yeah.
So they found out that we had some weed, and so we trade.
Traded the weed for the acid. Nice.
This is what's the funny part. So we trade. This is the I already smoked part of the blunt.
Oh yeah.
Okay, I told you it was a long story.
Yeah. I actually know this story.
So they give us a sheet of acid for like an ounce of this shitty weed. And he's like, oh, it's the best stuff. We didn't lick it or nothing. And I was like, what? I never even thought. Free fry.
Yeah.
Well, that sucks. I just took you 4 miles to look at a pile of dog shit.
No. You're good. The viewers will appreciate that story.
Maybe. We'll see.
It reminds me of just like the Jerry Garcia, whenever they would go on tour, they would just always have copious amounts of LSD that they would give out at their shows.
Well, you know the Santana story, right?
Yeah.
They were just, not only did they have copious amounts of acid, they would inject it into water bottles so people wouldn't know that they're ingesting.
Really? Wow.
Yeah, that was the whole Santana thing.
Oh, I thought the Santana thing, he knew he was doing it, but then he went up sooner than he expected or
Right,
something like that.
but there was another time after that where he got a water bottle and they had stuck a syringe and shot it in, and he's just like, he said he was going down a hallway and it just kept getting longer and longer. He's like, damn it, they got me again.
Nice. I did that to myself with mushrooms. Someone was handing out chocolates that had mushrooms in it at a party. And I was like, oh, cool, I'll have some. And I eat it, And I know it has mushrooms in it. But it was so nonchalant that I totally forgot that I ate the mushrooms. And then half an hour later, I was playing a lawn game where we were throwing a Frisbee. So there's some, like, athletic agility to this game. And then all of a sudden it hits me and I'm like, whoa. I was like, whoa, what's going on? I thought the ground moved. And I looked at everybody else and no one else was tripping. So I was like, okay, I just thought the ground moved. And then it took me like a good 5 minutes. I'm like, whoa. Because I wasn't drinking either. So I felt kind of drunk.
Doesn't matter if you're shrooming, if you're drinking.
Yeah, but I know, but it wasn't like, oh, maybe I'm just tipsy.
Yeah.
It wasn't like that. I'm
a little something different.
Yeah, and it took me 5 whole minutes. And granted, I was super high off some really good weed to realize that I ate mushrooms. And I was like, oh, that's right. And it was a pretty nice trip for how much I ate. It was pretty nice.
I had some great trips. One of the best ones was at the Laser Dome in at the Seattle
Oh yeah, the laser
light
thing,
show.
the Seattle Science Center.
Yeah.
Yeah, I went to a couple of those laser shows, man. They were pretty badass. I was impressed. My first laser show, I was like, laser show? I thought it was gonna be someone holding a fucking
Yeah.
pointer.
Like twirling a
Yeah.
baton or
I thought we were gonna see like cool like little cats or dogs,
Mickey Mouse.
No, they fucking integrate smoke, man, and when the laser goes through the smoke, they show all kinds of cool shit during the music. It's a trip. And I was on LSD. Did you do some LSD and do one of those too?
Yeah, the first laser show that I went to was with my bandmates, my lead singer's
Nice.
wife, who was pregnant and completely sober. She was the most logical person.
She was the one holding you all together.
Yeah. And then a friend of ours that was known by judges in 3 counties.
Damn.
So we get in line to go into the show, and our county friend was like, "I'll be right back," and he just runs off into the darkness, and he comes back with 7 hits of acid. So, because again, it was the 80s
Yeah.
or early 90s, so there were acid dealers hanging around the laserium.
Yeah.
You
yeah,
know,
exactly. Yeah.
that's just low hanging fruit right there, right?
Yeah.
so, so he comes back with 7 hits, and him, myself, my lead singer, each took 2, and our guitarist, he wasn't. He was a character. It was.
It was like agreed upon amongst everybody that he was only getting 1.
He got 1. Yeah,
no,
he got
he's-
1. Just 1.
This is an easy decision. You're just getting 1. Sorry.
And I love
You're
that-
already unstable.
I love this guy to death. I love him to death. He was one of the most amazing guitarists I've worked with. But his personality was easy to capitalize on.
Did he have Asperger's?
I don't know if he had an ass or burgers, if he was into either. But so anyway, we take these hits and we go in, and it's Laser Rush
Oh, nice.
2112.
Nice.
And I only remember that it was fucking awesome. I mean, like by the middle of the second song, we were starting to peak.
Yeah.
Right. So it gets over and the lights come on. Well, when you're peaking and that kind of change in atmosphere, it's like, oh shit.
You're like, no, though. No, don't
Yeah.
put the lasers away.
Well, that
No,
that
I'm
was
not
the
done
thing.
with the
So
lasers.
I immediately, because we were laying, because it had that
Incline.
concave
Yeah.
kind of laying area, and that's where we were all laying. And so when the lights came on, it was a shock and a different atmosphere, especially on 2 hits of acid. But I always was able to just be like, hey, well, okay, let's fucking get going. And so we all stood up, and our guitarist was still laying down, and he's like, it's not over. It can't be over. It just started, man. Like, we were like, get up, dude.
2
Let's
hours went by.
go. And like fucking people were starting to walk over him because it's a huge crowd. And they're
Yeah.
literally, and he's like, it's not over. We're like, get the fuck up. So then we're all standing there peeking. And they're like, what do we do? And I go, well, let's just blend in the crowd. And I literally do like a ballet pirouette into the crowd that was walking out the door. And it was right at the door. And I pirouetted through the door. And there's a cop standing right. I landed right in front of a cop in like this. And I was like, holy shit, let's just go. Well, we had 2 vehicles. I drove, and my lead singer's wife drove. And we were parked in different areas. And I went to her, and I was like, you got to listen to me. I need to follow you home. I have no idea where my truck is, for one, and how to get home. It ended up that my guitarist and I was like, I mean, the lights, it was insane. I mean, it was, I should not have been behind the wheel. And I'm like, hey, so-and-so, I go, can I get over into the right lane? I need to take this exit. And he just looks at me and he goes, I'm like, oh, I am on my own. And I just prayed. I was just, we got home. They didn't get home 2 hours after we beat them from Seattle to Gig Harbor, and they were back for 2 hours. And the wife, who's completely sober, it was because those two were so fried out of their mind. They were barking orders at her.
Oh, wow.
Telling her, turn there, you don't know what you're. She was like, she was so done. She just stormed in. Didn't let us in because we're still frying.
Or if they would have just shut the fuck up from the beginning.
Oh my God. She was mad. Don't piss off a pregnant lady.
Yeah, man. I mean,
especially on acid.
Yeah, exactly. That baby probably got high off proxy. Just being around 7 looking people yelling and screaming.
Okay, so there's more to it if you want to hear. So she doesn't let us in, right? She's like, I'm not having
pissed, yeah.
I'm not having fucking this band frying on acid in the house while I'm pregnant. So there was a chick that lived below. This was a apartment complex, and it was just kind of a 2-story. So there was a chick below that our county friend, we call her Big Red because she was big and she was a redhead. Sweetest lady, but, starving for attention. So we got county guy to hit on
Big Red
and make nice with her so that if we ever needed a place to drink or whatever. So
make nice with her. We're using the 80s terms still.
Yeah.
We're still in the 80s.
I'm trying to be
90s.
a gentleman about this. But
and then they got married.
And then lived happily ever. Yeah. So
I met you on LSD. Big Red was pretty.
Mind you, this is like 2 in the morning.
Yeah.
And she has a kid, like a 3-year-old daughter. Just fucking 4 of us fucking show up. She comes and there's a screen door and then the regular. So she opens up the door and she's tired. We woke her up, right? So she just leans against the screen door and it simultaneously, all 4 of us just jump back in a gasp, like, ah! Because it's just like, it looked like melting through. She's like, what are you doing? We were like, well, sure. They kicked us out and we can't do it. We're frying on acid. And she's like, all right, come in. And we're like, woohoo. So we're just having a good time. And, there's things that you can't recreate on acid when it happens. Like,
yeah, for sure.
My lead singer chucked a coaster at my face, and it curved right in front of my face, like right at eye level, and I swear it was a flying saucer. And I was like, whoa! And I was like, do it again, and then he just hits me in the temple. You just can't recreate this. So one of the moments, I'll end it with this, but one of the moments was my lead singer, because she has a daughter, she has, toys around and everything. And one of the toys was this little piano, little grand piano, something like Schroeder from Charlie Brown would play, that kind of thing. Yeah. And it didn't matter what key you would hit. It would always play It's a Small World After All. Mm-hmm. So anywhere on the keys, it's not a piano. It's just the matter of the rhythm.
Yeah.
So we're all bullshitting and everything, and my lead singer, he's 6'2". He was like, he's a big dude, right? So he's there, and in the background, we didn't even notice that this is going on, and he's like, it's a small.
And he's like, I can play this.
And he just keeps going faster and faster and faster. He can't stop himself.
He's
And then
freaking
he just
everybody out.
jumps up. No, we didn't even notice until
Oh.
this moment, because it's all in the background. He's like over in a corner with this thing. And all of a sudden he jumps up and opens up the door and just kicks the fucking toy out the door into the parking lot. And that's when we realized what happened. We're like, oh, he just couldn't stop.
Nice.
Just kept throttling.
Remember that time when my brother and his girlfriend came over at the time? And, it was probably from here to the corner of the carport over there.
Mm-hmm.
And he's like, hey, Joe, my brother says to me, can I get a cigarette? And he wants the cigarette for his girlfriend. And Lori's cigarette case was right next to me. So I was like, sure. So I took one of Lori's cigarettes out and I threw it at my brother. And he went to go catch it and it went off his hand and it went right in between her fingers and landed perfectly in between the two fingers that she smokes with. It was the craziest shit ever because I just threw it and it glanced off his hand and she's just sitting there. She's just sitting there with her hand like this and it's just like, bloop. And she's just like, whoa, what the fuck?
Thank you.
And I was like, yes, I'll be here all night.
Shaken, not stirred.
But I used to do, with friends, we would do a lot of acid and then get on the ferry. Yeah. So then like halfway through the ferry trip, you start tripping balls. And it's so funny because you get on the ferry, you're like, all right, we're doing this. And then like halfway through when you start tripping, you're like, it's going to sink. How is it floating?
We're all gonna die.
Yeah. And then when you go to approach the landing,
Yeah.
when you're high on LSD, it's so funny because you're just like waiting for it because you know it's going to hit the fucking... Yeah, that's true. Huh? But when you're on LSD, it's so much more intense when you're on LSD. And I remember that. And then we got off. Finally, when they fucking tied the ferry up, I was like, oh, finally, it's over. And then I go to get off the ferry, and this was back when the Alaskan Way Viaduct was there, and it had these big ass ivy fucking things growing up it. Dude, we were tripping so hard, man. When we came off the ferry and we saw that, it looked like it was growing like that, like constantly. You'd like shut your eyes and you open it. It was going up the viaduct. We were just like, whoa. And then it's all gone. It's completely gone. It's so weird. And then we walked high as fuck on LSD in the middle of downtown Seattle, rush hour traffic. From the ferry, we walked to the Science Center from the ferry on LSD. And it was the gnarliest thing ever because crosswalks were so hard. Like when we were fucking...
To navigate?
Yeah, dude, it was so trippy because the cars are just like... just flying by you like a foot or two away from you while you're waiting to cross the road, right? And all you're thinking about is like stepping off the curb right so you don't bust your knee, you know? And
Roll an ankle.
and I remember looking at my friends and I was like, dude, if I get hit by a car right now, I'm going to be so confused.
Yeah. Do I get mad? Do I cry?
Yeah, exactly.
Do I feel pain? Do I turn into the Hulk?
Like, is this supposed to happen? Is this normal?
Is this the
People get hit all the
universe
time,
telling me
right?
something?
Yeah. Oh, I gotta go to the hospital.
Ah,
Oh,
okay,
bummer.
All at the
I
same
wanted to
time.
go watch a 3D movie.
All in a split second.
Yeah. Well, and then the one time we went to the 3D, the IMAX, and watched a computer animated movie.
Yep.
Dude, it was so gnarly. It was so intense. And I remember I kept asking my ex-wife at the time. She was sitting next to me. We were both high as fuck. And I was like, are you okay? She's like, yeah. I was like, are you okay? She's like, yeah. And I'd do it through the whole movie. And then I was like feeling myself. And I was like, did I piss myself? I was like, fuck. I think I pissed myself. I'm trying to feel my leg, see if it's wet. And I'm like, I can't tell if I pissed myself. So I'm tripping out, right? And then finally we get it get up to go leave, and I look down, and I'm like, oh, thank God I didn't piss myself. And then
Thank God I wore that adult diaper.
yeah, she's like, hey, why did you keep asking me if I was okay? And I was like, because I was not okay. Like, that was not okay.
Too high, too high.
Yeah.
Somebody to confirm.
Yeah, I was like, okay, you're doing okay? Okay, cool. I'm doing okay too then. Yeah.
Well, that's how I became a missionary with those
LSD?
acid guys. Yeah.
Dang, nice.
Does it every time.
I'm telling you, man, it's a miracle
No,
drug, bro.
I took 2 hits of what was called double dip lotus.
Nice.
That wasn't licked.
That wasn't licked, yes. Yeah, you got lucky on that one. You didn't get the licked one.
No.
Apparently we all have.
And,
Yeah.
dude, I literally went outside and laid in a field and said, Dear Lord Jesus Christ, if you let me live through tonight, I will totally change my life tomorrow. And I woke up and I went and I became a missionary for 3.5 years.
Wow, that's gnarly, bro.
Yeah.
Yeah, you did that
But
to
it gave me
yourself.
it
You
gave
did
me
that
a
to
really
yourself.
really cool perspective on what we actually have. It helped me grow and mature as far as what is available to me and what I was wasting away.
Yeah.
I
can see that.
So it was a good thing. And
That's one of the things I love about LSD. Really good, clean shit is you get deep in your head. Sometimes,
have you ever done peyote?
No, not on purpose.
Me neither.
Ever.
Want to, though.
That'd be interesting.
You know the Eagles peyote story?
I don't think
The
so.
band, the Eagles?
No.
Yeah, so they go out into the desert, right?
Oh, and they do the peyote and then they start
A lot
making
of
music.
musicians have done
Well,
that.
see, I've heard that about ayahuasca too.
Play music.
Sting
Well, no.
said ayahuasca was what launched his
Oh,
musical
yeah.
career.
But with the Eagles, when they were doing the peyote, they had some acoustic instruments and stuff. It wasn't really a focus on that because it was at their start. They didn't even have a name.
Yeah.
And then an eagle flew over them and cawed at them or whatever.
Yeah.
And one of them goes, the eagle. And they're like, oh, that's it.
Dang, really?
Yeah.
That's simple, huh?
On
Wow.
peyote. That's
Yeah.
how they came up with their name. The Eagles.
Yeah, interesting.
Drugs.
And they're like, sorry, that band's name has already been taken by 6 other bands in Austin, Texas.
I know you got to do a hashtag or a backslash.
But we are the real Eagles. We saw it in the sky. It cawed at us.
Caca.
But yeah, that's one of the things I like about LSD is it gets you thinking deep sometimes, and it can help with creativity too.
Oh, jeez.
My first time doing LSD was actually my first drug, but the one thing I took away from it when I was peaking, because I did a lot, I did 3 hits right out the gate, and my first thought was
your first time?
yeah, first drug I ever did was
Whoa.
LSD, 3 hits of LSD. There's a story to it, I won't get into it, but
You got some cockles.
it was interesting. It was a good time. I had somebody that was sober, luckily, that helped me get through it all. But the key is that when I was peaking, I was having a good time, except for I was trying to process everything that I was seeing, and I truly realized in that moment that our reality truly is just like our perception, and it can be altered. Yeah, it's not what we see on a day-to-day basis is not everything.
Right.
You know, it's not what really is. It's just what our senses are able to tune into and interpret. And that's just a small piece of the overall puzzle, you know? And so when you're on LSD, you're like, man, this shit can be manipulated and changed. And it's like, oh, man, you get off that track of what you've been experiencing your whole life, you know? Yeah, you're taught that, you know? And just not only are you taught, but you accept it because it's true, right?
Right.
It's supposed to be true. It's accurate.
It's your reality.
It's your reality, yeah. And then when that gets shifted a little bit,
Well, it's like
I know that was
I've said
profound for
this.
me.
That's why.
I've said this a million times.
And then that's when I realized I wasn't gonna be a cop. I was like, "Fuck that shit, bro. I'm not gonna be a cop."
But like I've said this a lot of times before, but it's like if you grew up and you were told that this was a chair and this is a
Yeah.
table,
Yeah,
then you come across somebody that says, no, this is a table, that is a chair. It's like you can't. I was so humbled with so many experiences through
Through your mission, through your adoption.
missions. Yeah,
You're
but
moving
just
around.
even hallucinogenic experiences with friends. I will give a shout out to my friends that we did. I think it was we've done both acid and shrooms together, and he's an amazing musician, and he has this really small music room, and it is packed. Like there's like an L-shaped sitting room. Like you have to sit on the floor if you're gonna be in there to listen to us play. It's so crowded. Just floor to ceiling amps, big drum set, keyboards, and this computer for recording and all this stuff, and guitar racks and all that. And there was one time that I was tripping over there, and usually he would be on the drums because he has his drums really funky. Not any way that I would ever. I was making sure the logo was still there. Keep hitting it. He has his hi-hats like way low and everything. Just not the way that I would play them. So I would usually play like guitar, bass, or keys when we would get together. And we were doing that, and we were tripping balls. And I was like, hey, I need to play the drums. And he always recorded every session that we did. He was just ready, always record. Doesn't matter if it's shit or gold. Always.
And you crushed it, and nobody was recording.
No, it was recorded.
Oh,
it
nice.
was absolutely recorded, and it was a very spiritual moment for me musically. I listened back the next day because we didn't drive home. We stayed the night. And I was like, dude, I fucking played the drums last night, right? And he was like, yeah, dude. And so he pulled it up on the computer and played it back. And I was just like, I'll never be able to replicate what I did there. I mean, I was
Just so raw and in the moment.
and it is in complete humility.
Yeah.
I don't think I'm,
Like, you remember when I showed you the video of Matthew playing the piano?
right.
Dude, he just fucking fell in the groove. Never even played the piano before. I was just crushing it.
It's an amazing.
But yeah, man, that's what I feel too when I get in that creative zone. It feels so good. But what?
When you're in the pocket, it's hills and valleys.
Yeah, exactly. And then
I mean,
sometimes you can
as
you
soon
can
as
live off
you're-
those moments too for a little
Oh,
bit.
absolutely.
Plucking shit creatively.
But as soon as I've had seasons where it's just dry. I can't
Yeah.
come up with anything comedically,
Yeah.
musically, artistically, anything. And then you get to the ridgetop, and all of a sudden, oh, bam,
Well,
bam,
I've
bam,
noticed
bam,
in
bam.
life too that it seems like when your times of creativity would come to you and you're really flowing and really doing well, they come and go.
Mm-hmm.
But I feel like when I started experimenting with LSD and mushrooms and stuff like that, they started happening more often.
Well, I think that's why Jerry Garcia was such an advocate for it, because it's a mind-altering state where you can explore. Each time you do it, you will explore something different.
Yeah.
It depends on your environment,
Yep.
your company,
Yep.
weather.
And also, it could be
You know?
different from a different batch, different person, which will
Yeah.
be the different chemical makeup of the
It's
hit.
always a gamble. I mean,
Yeah.
I've had bad trips where it wasn't enjoyable. But and I did a that microdose that first time.
Yeah.
That was amazing. If I could do that,
Almost anytime you wanted to, that would be rad.
yeah, just that calm, that
Yeah.
body high calm, that I didn't have a worry in the world, but I'm not, the walls aren't melting.
Yeah.
And and then the next time that we tried it, it was just like, oh, it was too much. So it's always a gamble. I did. So I basically, I'm a grandfather now.
Yeah.
and,
yeah. It's
so
not,
I'm
it's not
not
necessary anymore.
Yeah, I've beat the shit out of a lot of
Yeah. There's no.
a lot of substances. So, but yeah, I do accredit a lot of some of my craft and my abilities to some of those substances.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
It's a pretty amazing thing if it's reused responsibly.
Yeah. Not
Like
on
I
the
tell
road.
people all the time, there's no need to do a bunch. Just do a little bit here and there, man.
Yeah.
That's all you need. You don't need anything crazy. I mean, maybe a bunch, every now and then, just to kind of go on like a little spiritual trip, or whatever you want to call it. Have a little moment of zen to yourself.
Right.
Shut your eyes for a couple hours. See something different. That's always a good time. Get up to like 3 grams, 4 grams, maybe.
Yeah. I mean, I did.
But I will say the perfect amount that I found for mushrooms, let's say they're Cabenzis, 0.75 or 0.8 grams. So just under a gram. I feel like puts you in the perfect body relaxation, kind of bubbly, euphoric zone,
Yeah.
where you're just really in the groove, but then you're not to the point where you get like anxiety or anything like that from doing a lot more, 0.1 gram, maybe like a half an hour of like almost visuals. But then when you do like 0.75 or 0.8, that's where it's at, man. For sure. And I'll do that and go on stage, and it helps so much.
Yeah.
With just relaxing my nerves or my anxiety, and I just feel like I can go forever and talk.
Yeah, you get it. Okay, I'll start it off with saying that, I mean, I've been playing music since I was 8 years old. I've done
Copious amounts of varieties.
piano recitals since I was 10. I've been in colleges with 3 professors of music that each are assigned to one watching my posture, one watching my hands, and one actually reading the music that I'm playing. I still fucking get a little butterflies in my
that's good, man. That's good.
stomach
'Cause
every time I get on stage, no matter what I'm doing.
There's people that talk about that, and they say that if you don't get the butterflies anymore, that means you've been doing it for so long, you've kind of mastered your craft,
Right.
But there's a part of me that hopes that those butterflies never go away from me. Because I feel like as long as I keep making strides in the right direction, those butterflies shouldn't go away, right? But if I
Right.
just stay in the same room, in the same zone, and do the same thing, same crowd, same area, and I don't reach out, branch out, right? Then I don't give myself the chance to have new butterflies, because there's not a new moment that you have to step up to.
Well, and then eventually those butterflies die.
Eventually, yeah. Eventually, maybe.
I mean,
Just hope to carry them on for a while.
sure. I mean, I rely on old material, and that's that's why I was trying to just fart around with new stuff, and I think that
Well, if you can write down 100 things, I bet you 10 to 20 of them would be pretty good. And that just goes
and
for
that's
anybody.
generous.
That's just
I think that's generous.
that's just the average, really. But it's the hardest part is writing this shit down, though, for real.
Well, yeah, and it's interesting because obviously music has always been my first passion, and it still is to this day. When I started stand up, it was kind of something to prove to myself. I mean, I'd heard, because I was always the class clown, that kind of thing. But there's a difference between clowning with your friends who know what the fuck you're talking about
Yeah.
and going onto a stage and making a bunch of complete strangers laugh.
Yeah.
Huge difference.
Dance monkey.
Yep. And so that's really, I mean, that's one of the things that kept me out of it. It was fear.
Oh, for sure, man.
Rejection,
it takes a
know, I mean,
long time, man. It takes a long time to get over that.
And so when I did do it, it's funny. I was like, I'm gonna be a clean comic. I'm not gonna use a swear word. It's not gonna be explicit. No innuendos, and I
Not
did.
even innuendos, nice.
And it was, a Wednesday open night,
Yeah.
open mic night. Just worst. Nobody's. There's a handful of people there, but the guys came up to me afterwards and they were like, "Hey, man, that was pretty good. We want you to come back tomorrow," which was another open mic,
Nice.
but it was closer to Friday.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's basically what you got to do is just keep chopping away at that tree. And I cannot believe what a dent you have put into the comedy world. I mean, in Kitsap County, it's impressive, and I'm just really proud of you, and I'm happy
Thanks, man.
to help out in any way that I can. Tell my old lame jokes or almost getting killed on Green River.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah. Just gotta come out to the open mics and whatnot.
Yeah,
The open
I know.
mics, the open mics, man, have been pretty good since COVID, since we started reopening. The crowds have been hungry, eager, ready to go, ready to
I'll
be entertained.
bet.
So,
I think once the floodgates actually break,
which is next 2 weeks from now.
so they say.
Yeah, we'll see. But yeah, I'm tired, so I think that's about it. You got any shout outs you want to give?
No.
You don't want to give any shout outs?
Just friends, family, musicians, artists. My wife.
Yes.
Oh,
there it is.
I
There
was
it
like,
is.
you're.
What's wrong with the chair? What's
The
going on
chairs.
with the chair?
The chair.
Chair, we appreciate chairs
No,
so much.
Of course, Janie. She has been such a support in so many ways. So,
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice. Cool.
and
All right. Well,
thanks
yeah,
for having me
I
again.
appreciate you, man.
I appreciate you too, brother.
All right. We'll have to do it again soon.
Hell yeah.
Maybe, maybe make it less to edit next time.
No, it'll never be that. All right. Well, the leader of the pack takes care of his needs. I'm going to read something. This is dumb. Do you understand the similarity between UFC fighters and drummers? Similarities, not differences. You see a fighter who looks like he has 2 roasted marshmallows for ears? You are in for a fight. Right? Makes sense. Same with drummers. If their cymbals are all behind them, odd angles, in different heights, drums that look out of reach, that's the cauliflower ear of drumming. You know he can play and that you are in for a fight. Like I said, work in progress.
Brand that I was telling Janie that Matthew asked me the other day. This is a good one. Listen to this. Matthew asked me if you sat on your own voodoo doll.
If you sat on your own voodoo doll,
would you be able to get up? Like,
The first thing that came to me was smell.
yeah.
Like you just smell shit your whole life for the rest of it. I mean, unless,
What would happen? Would you just be stuck
yeah, and just smelling your own ass.
until someone pushed you over?
That's not a bad time. I mean, yeah.
I think it's a pretty
13.
deep thought.
Or
13.
I think that's a
That's what-
pretty deep thought for a 13-year-old.
Deep Thoughts by.
Which one was it?
Matthew.
Matthew.
You go first, Joe.
Oh, jeez. This is just dumb. This is so dumb. I work as a UK forensic penis ruler as I have a 12 millimeter penis. I do crime scene photography to show how far away the casing is from the body. I'll admit, I have to scooch a few times. But hell, it's a job, right? And then in parentheses, I go, don't know why when I wrote this, it was all in an English accent in my head. Oh, jeez Louise. If you have PTSD, get a PTSD canine. Do not, I repeat, if you suffer from PTSD, as I do not get a puppy. Half of my life is, oh my God, there are so many ways I could kill you and no one would know for weeks. Not a favorite with the ladies. That's okay. I mean, like I said.
Why do you want to kill that little guy?
Okay. Isn't warm beer too much of the truth?
I don't even know what that means.
It's like, what am I drinking? I don't know. Oh, good Lord.
Deep Thoughts by Jonny-O.
Yeah, some of these, oh. Late bloomer, period. Everything, period. Fighting, period. Women, period. Not if you grew into tits at 19. I don't even know. I don't know. Oh, here's a, I think this is a business idea. Drive-through nail salons.
Oh, that was it?
Yeah, that was it. There was nothing. Holy shit. Oh, man. I don't even remember writing this. Well, I don't remember writing any of it, but anyway. Wiggly Beans was a tall old sort with a corncob pipe and a whistle whilst he stroll. Never did he curse a soul, but the day came when he was on his chores, when he came upon a kairos moment where time and destiny met their moment. You see, he had made a vow to state and man and God to defend his American democracy by his blood against foreign or domestic land. He will never see it die, so remember in these perilous times, Of the left and the right, we are all Americans, so why do we fight? The outside is watching and having a laugh. They don't have to push a button. They don't even need gas. You see, in the Bible, it says a kingdom divided against itself will not stand. Isn't that what is happening right here as we stand? I guess that was a little deeper than... Oh, shit. We got to get the funny back.